In this episode, we speak with Melbourne O'Banion, co-founder and CEO of Bestow, an insurtech company that builds the software infrastructure life insurers use to digitize operations, launch products, and modernize underwriting and policy administration. Bestow partners with major carriers, providing technology and data solutions that streamline processes from origination through back-end administration. O'Banion co-founded the company to modernize how life insurance products are delivered and managed, bringing experience from prior entrepreneurial roles and guiding Bestow's long-term strategy and industry partnerships. I am your host, RJ Lumba. We hope you enjoy the show. If you like the episode, click to follow.
RJ Lumba is the executive chairman of Market Insight Media and the managing partner of GrowthCap. He is the host of Great Entrepreneurs, a podcast for driven entrepreneurs and business owners. Our podcast covers all topics related to the entrepreneurial journey, from ideation to execution to optimization and to reaping the rewards of a well-run business. In the minutes ahead, we'll share with you unique insights and tactics from some of today's most accomplished and inspiring entrepreneurs.
Melbourne, great to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, happy to be here.
I'm excited to dig into the company and understand your journey, its journey, and how you got to where you are today. But maybe to kick off, would love to hear a little bit about kind of this switch into software. It looks like you were selling life insurance. You had kind of a more of a traditional kind of approach to the industry, but you were building tech maybe, and then you saw that that was working extremely well, and then you pivoted. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, I'd say at a high level, when Jonathan, my co-founder, and I founded Bestow, our vision was to bring software to a very antiquated industry and make life insurance, digital rather than just analog. And our view was to create an increased financial stability for millions of Americans with very relevant financial products of life insurance protection. The industry needed to modernize, and it needed to, enhance its software capabilities to be able to allow for products to be much more transactional. So from the beginning, our thesis was to build very deep with our technology platform. We started as an MGA, so as an agent for another carrier, but we built all of our own application, underwriting software, all the way through binding and policy issuance, and became our own TPA, third-party administrator. So from the beginning, we were very deep in our software build. We were a technology company from the outset. Mm-hmm. But what we did is we kind of proved out our software and built it and proved it in the market on the consumer side first. Initially as an MGA and then as our own carrier. We bought a carrier, we became a 48-state carrier ourselves, working with reinsurers, and really over a 5-year period, proved out kind of our algorithms and digitizing the entire process. It became one of the top term life insurance sellers within the US. And then ultimately, as we proved out the capabilities, we had some carriers reach out to us and be very interested in our technology because the industry is so antiquated with the adoption of like modern API cloud-based solutions. And so then we started to service some carriers on the enterprise side, and then came to kind of the decisioning of, are we going to really build ourselves out as a consumer business or as a SaaS company, mm-hmm. which was a journey and a very difficult decision to make because we had a very healthy consumer business. But mm-hmm. ultimately, looking at kind of directionally where we wanted to go, there are very few companies that are really best in class at enterprise and consumer. Mm-hmm. So we had to make the decision, are we going to go all in on enterprise? And we see that to be the best way to monetize the platform that we had built, or do we want to continue build out a carrier? And we made the decision that we wanted to enable carriers and that we were best positioned in the market to leverage the software via an enterprise SaaS solution versus a consumer business.
And is that enterprise SaaS solution mainly focused on more of the customer acquisition end, business development, that kind of function? Because, like looking at your website, it seems like there's like other things you can offer, but then maybe your history, your legacy is in more the kind of go-to-market and customer acquisition side.
It's an interesting point because the industry is made up of a bunch of point solutions where you're either an e-app provider or you provide underwriting software to the industry, or you TPA and provide, third-party administrative software. We are really unique in the sense that we are end-to-end a vertical software platform for the life and annuity industry. You look at other industries kind of orthogonal to life insurance, whether it's Shopify and e-commerce, or it's Guidewire on the property and casualty side, or it's Procore on the construction management side. When you can actually deliver a vertical software platform that has the breadth of really end-to-end, you can capture so much value and differentiation for your clients compared to just a point solution. And the life and annuity industry is made up of point solution providers that carriers have to work with 15 to 20 different software providers for a single product, right? For a term product or for a type of permanent product or for annuity. And you can manage like how difficult it is to navigate through all those different providers, stand up a new product, iterate on those products, change requirements, launch new distribution channels. So we go to our clients and say, you want to refresh a product, you want to launch a new product, you can do it all with us with a speed that, is incomparable to anyone else, and funnel performance, because we built ourselves really as a consumer business from started application to submitted application to converted application. What we can deliver our clients is just fundamentally a step change compared to anything else in the industry. So we do it all. And our ambition and what we're doing with our carriers and how we certainly anticipate continuing to grow and build a business is to be that vertical software platform for the life and annuity industry, not just a single point solution, but the true end-to-end, which is what our clients are really capturing the value from when we can deliver that level of access to our platform.
So you had been building all of these functions from the beginning before even the decision to go full on enterprise software.
Yeah, our contestable thesis that I think we've proven out is that the only way to truly digitize something that is so difficult in the sense, particularly from an underwriting side, like auto insurance, is much more transactional. You underwriting, within 12 to 18 months whether or not you underwrote accurately for the most part. Life insurance, you're underwriting for 10, 20, 30 years. So you need to be in the market for 3, 4, 5 years if you have new algorithms and using like data versus like a fully underwritten medical exam to prove out that your algorithms are accurate. And so the only way, in our view, to actually become a true enterprise SaaS solution in the life and annuity space, for us at least, was to be in consumer first, prove out the end-to-end solution and the underwriting algorithms, and then be able to take that to our carrier clients and say, we've been there. We're a peer in capabilities, not in size and scale, but we're a carrier ourselves that we've proven this out. And now you can leverage that to benefit from, you've got the brand, you've got the balance sheet, you've got distribution, you've got product expertise. Let us be the technology enabler and provider to you that we can do in a very unique way compared to anyone else.
You have a super interesting background. Looks like you've did a few different things before you founded Bestow. Curious about what that was. You graduated from BYU, awesome school. What did you do next? And then eventually, what led you to this idea of Bestow?
So my first company, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've only been an entrepreneur and founded several companies before Bestow. My first company was a title insurance business in Texas. That was a very unique business. We brought in a lot of the top real estate developers to help build that business, and we were successful kind of out of the gate. So that was my first foray into insurance, was a title insurance company. And then I moved into a health risk management company and helped build a corporate wellness solutions. We were very data-driven in our approach, where we would go to large self-insured employers and understand the cost drivers within the population. And we developed an accelerometer in partnership with like the Mayo Clinic that people would wear and get, if they wore it 20 days out of the month, they get a discount on their healthcare premium. This was even before Fitbit. And build that company. And I started learning about the life insurance space while I was in the healthcare space. That was kind of my first foray into looking at the life insurance space. Also helped build and co-founded a skincare company that exited a couple of years ago. So I am opportunistic as an entrepreneur, looking for, various opportunities. A decade ago, if you would have asked me, hey, you're going to do something in the life insurance space, I wouldn't have guessed it. But, as an entrepreneur, you're looking for opportunities to really, make a dent and to build something that is difficult. I think that in order to build something significant, you have to go through a lot of no's, and a lot of people have to really challenge your assumptions and kind of what you're pursuing. And Jonathan, my co-founder, and I, when we started Bestow, a lot of people said, well, if it's so important, and you can't digitize it, and you can't allow somebody to buy something, on a mobile device. Like, it should have been done already. Carriers would have done it. Others would have done it. We spent a lot of time talking to carriers, reinsurers, attorneys, investors, everybody that we could in the industry. And just, this is way before even insurtech was a word,
Right.
and came to the conclusion, like, this is one of the few industries that has yet to be fully modernized with software. And rarely can you really look at any industry and see that that's the case. We knew it was going to be a lot of obstacles to overcome given the regulatory nature of the industry, but I'm incredibly excited kind of how we're positioned. And I still think that we're very early on in kind of how we're building out the business.
Yeah. How do you size the market? I'm sure you've done this like a million times over, but like when you think about like the number of carriers and then how you sell your kind of software into that, like, maybe you have like different tiers, or I don't know if there's like some element of a consumption model there, but how your product is offered and then how you size the market for yourselves.
So there's 500 plus life carriers in the US.
Mm-hmm.
We're really going after the largest carriers initially just because we want to establish, a market leadership and grab market share. And fortunately, we've had just phenomenal carrier clients who trusted us, who have confidence in us, who've helped us kind of make the shift from consumer to enterprise, and who've believed in us. And I think that we really work with them as strategic partners, not as a vendor. I think it's very important, given what we're doing with our carrier clients, for us to work closely with each other to help enable them to do all the things that they want to achieve, and not really view the relationship as purely transactional or as a vendor model. And that's really worked well for us. So we're selective about who we work with, given just the number of resources and just the organic growth with every carrier. Typically, they put 1 or 2 products on our platform and then they perform, and then they come back and want to put products 3, 4, and 5. And we're still expanding a lot of our capabilities, moving from term products to permanent products. And there's a whole array of different types of permanent products. And then this next year, we're going to be launching into annuities. And annuities is just as large of a market opportunity as protection on the life side. The life carriers are typically broken down by, actually protection-based products, term and permanent products, and then annuities. And the systems that run those two businesses and the teams that operate those businesses are distinct and different. So our focus is expanding in the US with large carrier clients that we can expand with and launch 1 or 2 products with, and then have organic expansion from there. We demand quite a bit of, because we're offering the full stack, and like, rather than breaking it up on a per vendor basis, they're coming to us and having confidence in us and being able to provide that full stack, platform. So our revenue model, I can just share, is largely usage based. We want to be aligned with our clients that we win when they win. When they're putting applications and business through our platform is when we're transacting and driving revenue, rather than like massive development fees or, significant requirements per year that just make it kind of burdensome for the client. We want to win when our clients win.
I see. So is there an element of like a consultative approach here, or like a tech services portion to the offering?
There is. It's not a revenue driver for us. Like, I think ProServe and like some professional services is certainly an area that we can expand and grow into. We really look at it in working closely with them on what type of product that they either want to refresh or launch. Many carriers are trying to shift into transactional products. They want to take something that has required days or weeks to bind an issue, which you can imagine there's a lot of abandonment. An agent works with a client and an applicant, and they want to help get that applicant covered. Historically, for the industry, it's been difficult because there's this underwriting process, and you have to work with their doctor and get medical records and get a fully underwritten exam. We're digitizing and automating all of that. So we work closely with our clients and all of our learnings and our experience to work with their teams to develop those types of transactional products. And then how do they want to underwrite? What data sources they want to use? Typically, you have to file a new product with, the departments of insurance to get that approved. And then we've got to work closely with them on how they plan on distributing it. Underneath all of what we do is an intelligence layer that, because we really built ourselves out on the consumer side, for the industry, data has always been bifurcated between like an agent going and getting data that is typically held back from the carrier, that makes it difficult for the carrier to see much of the data for the applicant and the agent, and then to have access to that data. When they work with us, from attribution to application to underwriting, all the way through policy issuance, and then post-issue lapsation and beneficiary changes and all sorts of dynamic things that happen to the policy, it's all within our data platform that allows for us to be able to provide a lot of very unique data and analytic insights to our clients.
You've done a good job building this company. You've built other companies before. Curious how you brought the team together for Bestow and the role you typically assume. It seems like you typically assume the CEO role. You must be pretty self-aware, like you're really good at, certain things, and then you're able to fill in the rest of the team because you know of other folks that are like top tier in that area.
A lot of it is kind of stage and size. Our team has evolved significantly from when we were, early stage, raising our Series A and Series B. The co-founder model, I would say, is one I highly recommend. My co-founder and I, it's been a great partnership, and I'm confident it will continue to be. And we kind of divide our efforts depending on kind of what stage and size the company is. But it's ultimately our responsibility to raise the capital, build a team, set forth a vision, and really rally people together to execute. And we've got a phenomenal team. We care about principles such as being mission-minded. Like, we hire people who are enthusiastic about the mission that we are on. Mm-hmm. We want curious people. We want people who have intellectual rigor. We want people who are generous with their time and their expertise with others. We don't really allow for a lot of politicking or any type of that in the office. We're all about the mission. And we focus as a company, kind of an internal motto is to make hard things easier. Whether it's for ourselves or for our clients, day in and day out, we're focused on making hard things easier every single day as a team in a very difficult industry, right? Mm-hmm. And so when we started putting together the team, I think in highly regulated industries, you need this blend of people who've been there, done that, who can put some guardrails in place, who are from within the industry, who say to entrepreneurial ideas or for people from outside the industry, that's not going to work for these reasons. Mm-hmm. We have amazing team members from within industry and like experts within the insurance space. And then we want people from outside the industry with the beginner's mindset, right? We talk a lot about that, bringing fresh ideas to the table, who really don't know the constraints, who are bringing best practices from other technology companies into the life space. I hear over and over again from other CEOs and people from the industry, like, how do you have this engineering and product team, and how are you able to hire these people to work in the life insurance industry? Most carriers can't hire the top talent of developers and engineers and so on. And it's because we're a technology company. We're bringing people together that are really enthusiastic about doing hard things and building value with other incredibly bright people. So that's how we've navigated it. We were mostly in Dallas and Austin pre-pandemic. Now we're remote first, which allows us to kind of tap into top talent, across the US. And we've got team members across the nation.
You mentioned the mission. I'm curious how specific that mission is. You've got these companies like Amazon that say that they want to be Earth's, most customer-centric company. Like, how specific is your mission?
Our mission internally is to increase financial stability for millions of Americans.
Okay.
That actually has kind of parlayed and kind of worked from when we were a consumer, we were doing that directly in the market. But now ultimately in enterprise, we feel, given the software platform that we've built, that we can better achieve that mission by being the technology solution for the entire life and annuity industry, both in the US and eventually internationally, where every carrier executive team is looking at what we have to offer. And we want them to say, we can't really build this in-house. We're not a technology company, and we can't keep the pace up of what Bestow is doing. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be very difficult to do this internally. And then externally, there's really nobody else that even competes with Bestow in the market, delivering the value across all of these products and their capabilities. That's our vision. But all of that is housed within the really increasing financial stability and security for millions of people. We're not selling and we're not enabling products that are unnecessary. If you look at just the dynamics of US household, wealth and consumption in the States, like, these products are very relevant and needed. The industry is in a phenomenal job of serving the high-end, more affluent market. Mm-hmm. But for millions of people who don't necessarily have significant savings, or should something happen to them, and oftentimes leans on like friends and families in the community, which was where life insurance actually, it was invented, with communities of small people and small communities to say, look, we need to help our friends and family out for losing somebody who was the income earner. And there's been a little bit of a loss of that kind of here in the US because so many people don't have protection who need protection. I love to think like the best use of technology is to increase the quality of human life in some capacity. And that I think resonates with our team because we're actually providing a product and a service that hopefully really gives people more stability and security that helps them live a better life.
Awesome. I would like to touch on your investors. You've raised a considerable amount of capital. You got Goldman Sachs that I believe led the last round. NEA is also one of your investors. So it's a great list of highly reputable investors. Tell us about the value they bring aside from the financial capital.
I think NEA, they led our seed round, and then Valar, which is, James and Drew out of New York, are major investors, Bestow, they're primarily a fintech investor. They really helped us in kind of the earlier stages of the company, continue to think about how we build, and they were confident and obviously kind of backed us up and kind of what we were looking to build. Ultimately, that they felt confident that we would develop and earn value over time. And then as we made the shift to enterprise, we've had Goldman Sachs, Smith Point. Smith Point is Keith Block, who's the co-CEO of Salesforce. They co-led the round, and they're bringing in a different level of kind of operational and execution expertise as we scale the business. Mm-hmm. We're excited to have them on board. We've got a great list of investors that all kind of offer value in different ways. On the Series D, we really looked for a couple new investors with Goldman and Smith Point to really help us go from where we are today to hundreds of millions of dollars in ARR and helping us to be able to scale to that level of maturity, which is different problems to solve going forward. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think different investors bring at different stages of a company expertise that should be kind of utilized at that stage and size. And fortunately, we've had investors kind of all along the way, and they continue to really back us and are enthusiastic about the vision that we've set forth to accomplish.
We're coming up on time. I have two final questions, but I actually have two other questions I want to ask first. Remote first culture. How do you approach that to still have this feeling of like you're all in it together? You have a great rapport with your team members. What are some of the things you do to have a strong remote culture?
It's something you have to be very cognizant of. It's hard, but we do all hands every other week. We do a quarterly meeting in town hall with the founders, every quarter, which I think is great. We do pulse surveys. We have Slack channel called Props that everybody is giving each other props almost on the daily. It's my favorite Slack channel that we have. Things to try to unite and still keep people connected. We encourage teams to come into our Dallas office as frequently really as they'd like to do on-sites, to meet together face-to-face, which is highly valuable. My preference is to have everybody in the office every day. I love being in the office, but it's just not realistic, kind of given how we're positioned that we've, hired across the US. And then we ultimately made the decision that it would be more ideal for us to have the right talent and team rather than the geographic location. And it's something that we are constantly iterating on and finding new ways to make sure that people feel connected and excited about, working at Bestow and for the team. It's not we're going to check the box, right? It's a constant kind of iteration and discussion.
Skincare. We'll love to hear about the skincare product or company you started.
Yeah, it was my wife, Jamie O'Banion, who built that business. We co-founded it together. She went on, really built the business on HSN and QVC, and then we went to retailers and exited a couple of years ago. I was more involved in the business, early on, and glad that we had the exit.
Last two questions. One is, can you tell us about a person who has had a profound influence on you?
It's interesting. I have a lot of living people who had influences on me, mentors and people who've influenced me. I'll say for the audience, though, I like Charlie Munger's advice of learning from the imminent dead. People who have kind of lived and passed on and that you can learn from. I'm a big reader of biographies, and I find a lot of value on the business side from reading biographies of other founders and entrepreneurs who have solved problems and built businesses and have really helped teach me a lot about business. And obviously, there's so many people that I could say who are friends and mentors to me alive that I can't just single out one person.
Right.
Learn from as many people as you can, ask questions, be curious, and you can solve a lot of your own problems by, gaining wisdom and insight from people who've kind of been there, done that before.
Last question. Can you tell us about a charity, cause, or other endeavor that you're passionate about?
I would say education. I'm on a couple of advisory committees, both at BYU and at SMU, but I'm a big believer in being a lifelong learner and really trying to learn wisdom that applies to all aspects of your life. And so I would say just overall, as education evolves, particularly for high schoolers and people in college and trying to decide like what the workforce is going to look like in the future. That's something I'm pretty passionate about.
Wonderful. Melbourne, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been a great conversation.
Yeah, thanks, RJ. Good to be with you.